Hey, hello everyone, how we doing? Hopefully you can hear me now. If there's someone in the chat room, a nod to say that everything's working would be good. Hello Nils, how we doing? So, Adil's here as well. Hello Adil, good to see you. I hope things are going well up there. I'm good, thanks. Good. Today was technically my last day of work, so looking forward to taking some time off. It's been a funny old year, but yeah, looking forward to getting time to recharge. And I think I'm going to move my office around. That's my plan of attack for the holiday period. I'm going to move some stuff around, probably break some stuff while I'm doing it. And yeah, technically, I fully expect that I will be looking at things over the Christmas period, either through choice or being asked to, one of the two. There's some things I would like to take care of. Hello, Code Monkey. Good to see you again. So yeah, I hope everyone's doing well. Here in Scotland, we are away to start entering a new higher level of restrictions due to some new strain of the virus that's been found down in Englandshire, and yeah, it's going to be fun and games. We were already planning to not be doing much over Christmas anyway, not going to visit folks and just kind of sticking to ourselves. But it's kind of being enforced now, so that'll see us through into the new year. At the very least, I would have thought. I wanted to work on my attic, but everything's closed now. See, I have all the things here. It's more of a moving things around. I'm not entirely happy with the layout, and I've got some fancy new pictures that I want to put up on the wall somewhere. So, hello Kim, how's it going? I want to make some space for my new pictures that you might have seen on the Twitters. So I want to get them up on the wall somewhere. So it's a case of moving everything around and making it a little bit better, hopefully. So that's the plan. So, thank you for everyone coming around. Oh, do you like them? Do you like them, Adil? So So for those that haven't seen it, I'll maybe bring it up. I should maybe bring it up, and I'll talk through what I did. So I unashamedly stole it. Is what I did. Patrick on the cake team, he got some. Let's go to media. I don't want to just let me see the pictures. Dang it! Well, that's just annoying. Oh, for goodness sake. I can't even see my own. See if I can go in here. Let's find my Twitter login details. This one. Copy. Paste this into here. Give me 1 second. Oh, you see, you've already found it, and I've got an authentication. Give me 1 sec. It's worth it. I promise, it's worth it. So what I was saying was I unashamedly stole the idea from Patrick on the cake team. So if we go back up here and put this back around there. So ignore my daughter. That's not who we're showing off today. This, right? So I got they're A3 size pictures, and I got one for the main open source projects that I work on. So Patrick on the cake team had got this one in the top right hand corner made. So I unashamedly stole the idea and got one made for Chocolatey, Kit Contrib, and GitReleaseManager. So the reason it's only got Choco rather than Chocolatey was that it wouldn't all fit in one line, unfortunately. And he did initially break it up with hyphens and things, and it didn't look right. So I went just for Choco, whereas GitReleaseManager kind of broke up nicely across the different words. So I was okay with that, but I didn't like the way Chocolatey was broken up. So I need to find some space on the wall for these going up, is what it all comes down to. But no, I'm really happy with them. They're from a gentleman called Bartek in Sweden, of all places. But obviously Patrick knows him, and initially got the cake one made up, so I went back and got them from him as well. Someone else said the reflection in the frame was good as well. It was I didn't even think about it when I was taking them. I just kind of laid them all out and took the photo. But yeah, someone else mentioned the fact that it was a nice reflection having the pictures as well. I'd personally like to rebrand as. Oh well, that's a whole different discussion there. Adil. you can bring that one up internally. But anyway, so I did want to move my room around anyway, but getting these pictures up on the wall is even more of a incentive to do it. So anyway, glad to hear everyone's doing well. What I'm hoping to look at tonight is to publish the Cake extension for Visual Studio. So I got to a point over the last week where I believe I have all the required functionality ready to ship. So if we look at the milestones here, then I have created a new one which would go out afterwards. So I have got everything that's in the 0.30 release is ready to go. In this release, it's going to be a bit more of a manual process, I think. But I'm okay with that. I've literally just created a bunch of new issues on the 0.40 release, which would automate some of the things that we're going to have to do tonight. But because I've never shipped this before, I'm going to go through the process manually, figure out all the steps that need to happen, and then put more of a build process around it. So the reason that I was hesitant, so I knew Pascal was going to ask that. So there's at least one other thing in the next release that I would like to fix before I would say that we're on par with where the 1.0 release of the Visual Studio Code extension is. So if we look at the milestones for that, then there's one which is adding support for frosting, which I may or may not get to. But there is this one here. So Cake VS, so in the current implementation of the extension, we only support usage of build.cake. So I want to get that fixed so that we can allow a recipe.cake or a setup.cake, and also the ability to configure some of the internal functions of the extension in terms of, for example, what regular expression is used to identify tasks within a script. At the minute, that's all hard-coded. So I want to ship this release because this release includes things like support for Visual Studio 2019, and it is a breaking change. And then I would follow up with another release. So what is the 0.40 release will probably be the 1.0 release. And then we've essentially got feature parity between the Visual Studio Code extension and the Visual Studio extension is kind of where I'm going. So that's my thought process there. So hopefully you're in agreement. If not, I'm sorry, but that's the way I was going to do it. So the reason that I was hesitant to do the release tonight was that there's another open issue, and that other open issue is, let me find it. Dun dun dun. Where's the one? No, is it this one? I think it's this one. No. Let me find the one. This one. So there was an open issue, or there is an open issue that says VS 2019 fails to refresh the tasks on open. So what this is referring to, I'm gonna open Visual Studio because I've got the extension loaded. I've got the pre-release version of the extension loaded, and you'll see here. I'll maybe change this up a little bit. So if I bring this up, right. So here's Task Runner Explorer. If I go File, Recent Projects, and I say Windows Forms App 1. So if you watch closely in this task window, you'll see it says loaded 2 tasks from build.cake. So the extension has correctly identified that there is a build.cake file here, but it hasn't loaded anything into the Task Runner Explorer. Now if I refresh, if I click the refresh button, then they do appear, right? So initially I was like, oh well, that's annoying, right? But if I go and do close solution here, and I say File, recent projects and solution, and I say this web application that I have open, then this web application has a package.json file in it. And there is a Task Runner Explorer add-in written by Mads Christensen, the guy who essentially wrote the Task Runner Explorer. And you'll see that in his extension, that package.json also hasn't populated anything over here. But if I hit refresh, then they appear. So the Cake extension for Visual Studio doesn't load the things out of the box. So, and yeah, Kim's just pointing out the same thing. However, what I did notice was if I minimize this guy and say file close solution, and I say file open recent projects and go back to the Windows Form one, and I give it an opportunity to run all the background tasks and kind of settle down and do everything that's needed. If I then open the Task Runner Explorer, bring it into focus, then the tasks will be there. So I think it's maybe finished. So if I bring the Task Runner Explorer up again, it was doing it earlier. If you leave it a period of time, then open the Task Runner Explorer, then it works. It loads it automatically. So the fact that Mads Christensen's extension is having the same problem, if you like, I'm okay with it being a Visual Studio issue, which is what and that's what Matt is saying. So Matt, welcome to this chat. This is actually what I was hoping to talk to you about. Assign the issue to Mads. Sure, why not? So I think I'm okay with the current implementation of our extension, the Cake extension, functioning the same way as Mads. Oh, I've had this conversation with Nils as well. I've had this. I'm okay with Mads extension doing the same thing as R1. So I'll write up in the issue to say that I don't think it's an issue that we can fix, and instead I'm going to prepare for shipping this guy and sending it out the door. So that is going to be the main focus of this evening. Is about getting the extension published, wrapped up into a V6, published, and sent out the door. Now, one thing that I had just thought about there was, and this would be for the next release, so it wouldn't be in this one, is now I know that Matt Lacey in the chat room, I know that he does this on his extensions, is I may look into signing of the V6 file. So we may do this as part of our build process. So we already sign our nupkegs, we already sign our DLLs as we send them up to NuGet.org. So I want to look into the possibility of signing the V6 files that we generate here prior to sending up to the NuGet gallery, to the marketplace for the extensions before we do it. So I want to say that it's spelled Mads with an apostrophe, but for clarity, it should be. Before I forget, there was a question from Nils on Gitter, so maybe we'll just address that just now. So the question that, maybe just bring it up just before I forget, and then we can dig into this. That's clearly not going to take me to Gitter. Gitter.im/ chocolati.org. I think I can get him without being signed in. So the question was regarding the downloading of a file as part of the package verification process for Chocolatey. So what Nils is saying is that it works fine locally in his machine, but in the package verifier, it isn't downloading correctly. So this is something I am more intimately aware of than I would ever choose to want to be in any way, shape, or form. But effectively, currently in its current incarnation, the package verifier instance, as well as the local Chocolatey test environment, it uses Windows Server 2012 R2. Now, what we're starting to see is that a number of vendor websites are starting to use TLS ciphers that they physically don't exist for Windows Server 2012 R2. So whenever Chocolatey then tries to reach out to a URL that is using a TLS Cypher suite that isn't supported by Windows Server 2012 R2, it basically throws its hands up and says that it can't communicate with it. It can't do the TLS handshake, so it can't download those files, right? So I think that might be what you're running into, Nils, but you can verify that by downloading the local test environment. And I see you're having a conversation with the cake is a... I don't know. Does anyone know what this means at the end of this person's Twitter handle or GitHub handle? Is it the cake is a lie? I thought that's what it was. I thought it was. But is that so? That's a chemical symbol for lie, I'm guessing. It's awesome if that is the case. So the cake is a lie is basically pointing out that there is a Hyper-V version of the chocolatey test environment. You can get it for both Hyper-V and VirtualBox, and the Vagrant file in there will work for both. So yeah, if you just say Hyper-V, or depending on your Vagrant configuration, you can either specify provider Hyper-V, or you can make Hyper-V your default provider within Vagrant as well. So Adil's saying that it's sodium hydroxide, which is lie. It only has the wrong file. Oh, okay, so that's a different error then. So ignore everything I just said then, Nils. And I would still test it on the local test environment to see if there's not something else going on that is preventing it from working on the local test environment, or it might just be that we need to put it through the package verifier again and see how things are working. I've just noticed, sorry, that I was raided by Freestyle Coder. Thank you very much for the raid. I appreciate it. Just doing a little bit of introductions and wrapping up of a few things, and then we're going to get on to looking at the thanks, Kim. Everything I said was still valid. It's maybe just not specifically for the issue that Nils is currently having. Anyway, so that's what I wanted to talk about before I forgot. So what I want to do instead is I want to look into publishing this guy. So I had a conversation with, or I had a Twitter conversation with Matt Lacey again regarding this, about what process he currently follows. So at the minute, Matt follows a manual process for publishing to the marketplace. So what I've added into the next release would be a way of automating the publishing of the marketplace. And what I found is that, to the best of my knowledge, there is a v6 publisher.exe that we can make use of to add in a fully automated build and release process. But for what I'm going to try and do now is I'm going to walk through the manual steps, take a note of what I did, how I did it, etc., and then add that into a fully automated build and release pipeline. And yeah, Nils, Adil doesn't like Vagrant very much, so I personally have never had too much of an issue with it. It's always kind of just worked for me. I am aware that there are some ongoing issues with Vagrant sometimes, but your mileage does very much vary with regard to that. It's always kind of just worked for me. And there was a comment by Matthias on the signing signing issue that I just raised. So he's saying that we should be able to use the sign client, which we currently use for Cake NuGet packages that also supports v6. So we should be able to include that into the build process as well. Back when I was not on. Oh, interesting. Yeah, indeed, works on my machine, Adil. What? So I can't speak. So I actually can't speak to the integration of Vagrant with Hyper-V. I've only ever used Vagrant with VirtualBox and or VMware Desktop. I've never used it with Hyper-V, but I've always had a very, I was going to say pleasant. That's maybe a little bit of a stretch. I've always had a good working relationship with Vagrant and VirtualBox. I've had some issues with VMware, but that's more to do with the fact that the VMware desktop provider, even though you have to pay for it, doesn't have as much functionality as the VirtualBox one, which is completely free. So I don't know what that means. Right, anyway. Enough squirrels. I'm going to start doing some actual work. So If I look again at the issues list and look at the milestones, then we'll see that all of the issues on the 030 milestone are closed, so we're good to go in that respect. What we are going to want to do then is we're going to want to create a release branch. So I'm going to do a git checkout -b of 0.3 from the develop branch. That should give us something to work with. And in here, I should be able to do a build. So let's just test to see if all of that works as we expect it to. And if it does, we can start looking at some stuff. So while that's doing that, actually, I might look at getting a token so that we can run GitReleaseManager and cake contrib bot, cake bot. So we have that. Okay, so that all succeeded. So if okay, so I'm going to pull this down a little bit again. So talk amongst yourselves. I'm just going to add in an environment variable into my system so that I can run GitReleaseManager. So this is going to be the cake GitHub pat. Let's copy this guy. You definitely can't see this. It's not on the screen. Paste that into there. Save that. Save that. Close this guy. Open this up again. And let's do env cake GitHub pat. It's in there. Clear that out. CD into my GitHub folder. Organizations, cake, and cake-vs. Okay. Bring this back up. That should allow me to do the GitReleaseManager thing. Okay. So, and here I think I've got .NET tool list global. I don't. .NET tool install GitReleaseManager .tool globally. That's not going to work. And then if we do .NET, so this is part of the thing that I want to add into the overall build process, but I'm going to do this step manually while we're here. And then we're going to do create. That's going to fail because we need to give we won't add any assets to it at the minute, but we will create it based on a milestone of 030. It'll have a name of 0.3.0. The owner is going to be cake build. The repository is going to be cake vs. And then the token is going to be, this is where I hear Maurice shouting at me to not put anything out on the stream. So let's see if this works. Okay, let's run that guy. Didn't work. Ooh, okay. So what's it expecting? It's expecting to be either breaking change, feature, bug, improvement, or documentation. So as in terms of the issues, I must have something that doesn't have, so that one doesn't have an issue, so we'll need to give that an issue. Initial support for overriding the location, so I'm going to say that that is an initial support for overriding the location. I'm going to say that's a feature. And then this one is a feature as well. Okay. That, I think, that sounds like a swell idea, Kim. If that's something that we can do now, Because yes, I always forget that I can just copy and paste. What's this saying now? Not found. Fatal, not found. What have I done? Fairly sure I added the token. Releases. Oh, I see the problem. I see the problem. No, I don't see the problem. Not sure if it's currently possible with the way we output though. Oh, interesting. Oh, that's not the problem. Milestone 030, name 030, cake build. It did find it because it errored. So why is that causing a problem? I don't want to get hung up. Oh, I haven't given a target commit-ish. Is that what the problem is? So I'm going against the. I'm going against this, which is going to be master. So this is going to be -C. Maybe I should have a better error message than that. Oh, no, that's not the problem. Yeah, I don't really want this to be the this whole thing that we're doing this evening. Let me read the instructions again. Version, repository owner, token, input file, name, milestone, assets. Git branch. It shouldn't need it, but I haven't actually got it checked out either. So let's get the master branch checked out here. Git fetch upstream. Git rebase upstream master. Git status. Not kegs, that's fine. Git checkout. Release there. I'm gonna try it once more. Create release from milestone. It's almost as though it can't find the 030 milestone, but it's right there. Plus, it also is. It found the one that was erroring. Jeez, oh, I've got a new follow. Look, my thing worked. Thank you, Boda Lambda, for the follow. I appreciate it. I don't know if you folks heard the sound, but I heard the sound in my ear, which brought it up, brought it to my attention. So thank you very much for the follow. Feature. I'm so confused. Didn't hear anything. Dang it. Ooh, I might need to add in a, but then that would add in everything. I might need a virtual, what's it called, a virtual audio input to bring the desktop sounds into the stream. But that would bring all desktop sounds into the stream, which probably not actually what I want. I'm so confused as to why this is not working. Loopback will do it per app. Oh, Loopback being an application that I could use. Interesting. On a Mac or on a Windows machine? I'm going to bring this down here again in a second. I'm going to check that that token is there. Env cake GitHub pat. Cake GitHub pat. That is the right token, I think. I'm fairly sure it's. Oh, referee. Right, fine. I think I know what the problem is. I'm gonna bot this guy, copy password. And I think it was a little bit of pepcac, but let me try this again. So if I do this, and I do this, and I do this. So I think it was Adil that questioned my whether it was the token, and I think it is the token that was wrong. I think I copied the wrong one, so I apologize for not. That error message is not the best. Let's be fair. Let's see if this comes up this time. So let's do that, save that, save that, save that, close this guy, open this guy. Well, I'm not saying that right now. I'm saying that if this turns out to work, then yes, you were right. So cd back into C, GitHub, organizations, cake -vs, and let's try that command again. So that was going to be .NET GitReleaseManager, .NET -GitReleaseManager. Beautiful. Okay, so let's bring this back up, and let's bring this. Adil, can you send me that link on Slack so that I don't lose it, please? That loopback one. So I think it's. I've seen the not found error before, Kim, and I think it's to do with the fact that it's attempting to edit our milestone or create a milestone that or a release, and it's saying it can't find it, rather than it being a. I think that I have seen this before. Owner is cake build, repository is cake-vs. The milestone was 030, the name was 030, and the token is env cake GitHub partial access token. Try this. Now it's saying bad credentials. Hold on. You know what? I'm going to get this to work. I'm going to get this to work. I want this to work. So I'm going to go over here. And I'm going to go over here. And I'm going to put this out of screen one more time. And then I'm going to go over here. And I'm going to copy and paste something else. And then I'll catch up on the chat if there's anything I need to catch up on. I see that Maurice has just joined. Hello, Maurice. Glad to have you here. If I click on this guy and copy this guy and put this in here, then paste. Let's try this one. He must have heard me talking about him. That's what it is. And then into here, and then do env cake GitHub pat. We'll get there. Exit. Bring this up. CD into C. once more into the breach. Yes, let's try it one more time. If it doesn't work this time, I'm giving up on GitReleaseManager for tonight, and I'm going to try and do what I'm actually wanting to do tonight, which is the overall release process. So if we do .NET Git Release Manager dash create dash o cake build repository cake hyphen vs name 0.3.0 milestone 0.3.0. Come on now. And then I'm going to put it in anyway, and then the token is going to be env cake GitHub personal access token. See, it all just works when you have the right credentials. Let me catch up. Correct token for a different user, which results in not found for this repo. Shouldn't matter if it is a different user, only a token is specified in authentication, so in worst case, it should be that permission is denied. Hello Maurice, hello. You need to have a fun cat fails video in your background to entertain. If you have such a video, I can certainly do that. There was a kickoff of a show that I really like to watch normally. I see. That's a first. I was very close to giving up, Maurice. So the upshot of all of that was that I was using the cake contrib token rather than the cake build token. So when you use the right token, things work. So hopefully all of that is going to be worth it. So what we should now have is a draft release for 030. And to and to catch us all up, yes, Adil was absolutely correct. So we've now got a draft release which has been drafted by the Cake Build bot. There's 2 breaking changes in this release. Removal of VS 2015, remove uses of experimental options, that's a breaking change. So we added in support for Visual Studio 2019, did a couple of bugs, and we did some improvements. So all of that means that we have those ready to go. So what that will mean is if we do a git checkout of the master branch, we should be able to do a git merge no ff of the release branch into our master branch. And of course we have a merge conflict. Why would we have a merge conflict? Oh, hold on. You're sending me down a path. You're sending me down a path. Let's open it up. Copy. Paste. So what we're saying is I need one of these in the background when I... Oh my god, that's funny. The kid with the cat. Right, okay, sorry, no. We're not going down this route today. I need one of those in the background. Why would I have a merge conflict going from the release branch into the master branch? That makes no sense. Upstream masters are all in line. So we're over, we've done a bunch of stuff. Git merge tool. I don't really want to use, no. Why would you inflict that on someone? And why has that not got my tools in it? I thought I had this set up. GitHub, Git13, OSS, Chocolati packages. I thought I had this set up already, but maybe I don't. So let's go in here, let's go in here, let's go in here. And my diff tool and my merge tool is these. So let's take those and put those in there. And then I'm assuming that I've got kdiff installed. I must have kdiff installed. I do. So let's try that again. Git merge tool. much better. Okay, so what's the merge conflict here? So the merge conflict is, one is using that. Oh, I see. It's, no, that makes no sense. I thought one of the things that we updated was the version number in the manifest file. So why is that still building at that? Because what we've got released in the marketplace is version 0.20. But I thought, I mean, this is maybe part of the process that I need to, I thought one of the things that this package, the build process did was to update it with the latest. So if we scroll down through here, then what we should be doing is updating the manifest file with the update manifest version, which is that file. So that's the file that's currently in question, right? So why is that only got 0.11 installed on it? Because if we come out of that and say don't save it, if we run tools git version, or did I switch to the, I did switch to the .NET Global tool. Thank you for that, Maurice, I appreciate it. So let's do this as well. .NET tool install git version .tool / version. Let's get the same one, version 5.5.1 globally. I know there's been a new version released of git version. Thanks for bringing up the typo. Love it. So if we do .NET git version here. Oh, look at that. It's not, see, yeah, it's okay. So that's something we're going to have to take out of the, I'm going to add an issue for that. Issues, we're going to say don't bump version number in manifest file unless on a tag. This will stop merge conflicts and only update the file when actually required. So that's going to be a build issue. I think you are absolutely spot on, Maurice. So we'll do that in the next release. Again, tonight is all about just getting the manual process laid out, and then we can work on automating that process. But I think for now, if we go back to my merge that I was trying to do, I will blindly accept this one, and then I'm going to change this manually to be 0.3.0 because that's the one that we are actually going to ship. Okay, so let's save that and close that out. Okay, so then we should be in a position to complete the merge, hopefully. So we go back up here, then we're merging that branch into there. All of these things, we can get rid of all of these now. So let's reset those guys. And then we should be able to do this commit. What's the question, Maurice? Are you questioning the 4-part version number? If you are, that's a Visual Studio thing. So there's Visual Studio uses the 4-part version number for extensions. Yeah. So, in theory, if we were to, so if I run this build again, it's going to update that version number. So it's going to break it. So I've got no local changes there. But if I run the build here again, I suspect what's going to happen is that it will reset that back to an earlier version number, because Git version hasn't got, or Git version is asserting the wrong version number, I think. Let's have a look. Are we sure about that, Matt? I've always been under the impression that, for example, this one only uses, well, let's bring it up. Copy. I mean, I would be happy to not use that. Oh, look at that. In which case we may, well, no, it should still be higher. I might change that then. I had assumed that it was needed. So now I think Git version is using the right number because of the merge and the master. Beautiful. Okay, in which case, debating about what to do now. Let's fix that for the next one as well. So let's add another issue while we remember it. New issue. Switch to using 3-part version number, i.e. major, minor, patch. And let's do that as there. Let's stick that in there so that we remember about it. Okay, so in which case, the output that we have here, we should now have in our distribution folder, we should have a v6 file that is the fully ready to go artifact. So let's just have a quick look here and say view, where's the thing I want? The thing I want is view hide extensions, no. So a quick sanity check in here. Look at that, it's got all the packages in there, which are beautiful. And it's got all my item templates. Okay, sanity check looks good. So this is a built artifact that once we have all the automation in place, we should be able to publish that automatically when we run the build on AppVeyor or GitHub Actions, whatever it is we run it. When we do a tag, that will then ship that artifact to the Visual Studio Marketplace. But for now, we are doing a manual process. So what we should be able to do is, if I go over to here's one I prepared earlier, and I copy this guy and paste some PowerShell into here, what we should have in here is the v6 publisher path, which is to there. And what I should be able to do is I should be able to run that guy. This is where we're starting to go into unknown territory. If I run this guy, we should be able to call the publish command, which needs some stuff. Now I don't think we have all of that stuff, but we're going to make it. So the payload is the path to the v6 file. So we have that part. What we don't have is the publish manifest. I don't think that was created as part of the last release. So in here, I don't think we've got a JSON file as part of this. Let's see if we can find a JSON file in here. No, we don't. Okay, so what we need, if I borrow one from somewhere else, I copy this guy. I'm getting notifications in my ear, but I don't think they're related to what we're doing here yet. So what we need is, I'm going to create one at the top level here. I'm going to create a new file, and I'm going to call it extension manifest.json. And in here, I'm going to paste some stuff. So this is one that I've borrowed from elsewhere. So we need to update this to match. No, I don't think so. What was that, Maurice? Sorry, I wasn't. I always forget what I say pretty much as soon as I say it. So the notification. Oh, you didn't hear my notifications. Perfect. Good. So what we need to do is, we've already got a published extension, so we need to make this manifest match what's already there. So the tools here are, or the categories are tools and build. That's not going to work. Build. Identity, the internal name. Interesting. The internal name. So let's see what this guy's got. Is that just going to be the, if I copy that guy and duplicate this one, and let's go into the search and see what he's got up here. So the internal name, he's got it with a hyphen. So I'm going to assume then that that is something in here. So maybe what's in his manifest. Internal name equals the identifier of the URL. Okay, so that's this part here then. So for us, that is cake for Visual Studio. Is that correct? So the identifier, thank you for that, Matt. The internal name for us is going to be cake for Visual Studio. The tags here are, so we've got these ones. So we've currently got build, C#, and cake. So we'll put build, C#, and cake. The overview is a file that we can reference for all of the information that goes onto this screen here. So this for us is the readme.md file. So that's where we pull all that information from. So we've got a readme.md file. I've got that at the same location here. Price category is free. The publisher, our publisher name, Matt, is VS Publisher blah 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 blah. Can I change that? Can I make that something other? Because VS Publisher blah 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 is not really, that's not really great, I'll be honest. Private is false. Q and A is, I'm assuming that's question and answer, so we have that already. And then the repo is going to be there, so we're going to need to have this guy. I think you have to contact, okay, so we won't worry about that just now then. But I kind of thought that might be the case, but thank you for that. So if we put this in here, right, so I think we have all the bits that we need. So we've filled out, I'm assuming the schema is going to be the same for everyone. We've got the categories, which are tools and build. So let's just go through this one more time. The categories are tools and build. The internal name is what's in the URL, which is cake for Visual Studio. The tags were build, C# and cake. and then the overview file is the README, which is coming from the same location as this one. Price is free. Our publisher name is that. That is that. Question and answer, true. Okay, so that's the manifest file. So in here, or are you sending me, Maurice? Assumption is the, let's bring it in. This should be my like motto of assumption is the evil mother of all mistakes. I think that pretty much sums up. So what we need to do, we need to give it a payload, which is the v6. We need to give it a published manifest, which is the file that we've just created. There's an ignore warnings that I saw in the example blog post that I was following. They were ignoring some warnings, so we may need to do that. And then we need a personal access token. So in theory, I should be able to do v6 publisher publish. We should be able to say payload, which is going to be into the dist folder. Oh, that's not going to work. It's not going to let me do it. Fairly sure it was in the dist folder. And then this guy. So yeah, let's copy this name so that we have it. So into the dist folder and then to here. And then we need to have the publish manifest, which is going to be Pascal has just asked a very good question. Should we also disable Q&A in favor of redirecting people to GitHub? I'm going to say that maybe that's a great idea, but we should do that in the next release. Thank you for that, Maurice. Let's do that in the 040 release, because we'll need to update the README, and I'm already past that point of to have a link to say if you got any questions, point it over to here. We would also need to enable discussions, or you saying put discussions, or you're maybe not saying discussions at all. No, okay, I think that's a good idea. But let's do it. What wasn't you? Oh, Kim, are you playing with feature.chat, Kim? Because if you are, I think this is a flag in the manifest. Yes, but what I'm saying is that in order to direct people somewhere other, we're probably going to want to put some words into the readme.md file to say in here, so that what's published onto the marketplace page says, if you've got any questions, go over here. So I don't want to do that just now because I'm already past that point. But I agree that what you're saying is it's just a change to the manifest file that we don't have in the repository anyway, but we should put some words into the readme.md file. So yes, Kim, I saw that you said, yep, thank you for playing with. I'd be interested to hear your feedback on feature.chat to see what you think of it. Do you allow me to take a quick poll about a presentation that I'm going to do? Sure, I've got no objections. You can disable the Q&A and then it will automatically show. Oh, okay. Okay, well let's check this out first though. Let's go back to here. Do we have any Q&A at the minute? Are there any questions? I see there are. So what will happen to the existing questions if they're already here? If they're, will it just go away? So okay, I think I'm okay with that then. I think I'm okay with that. Okay, so let's give it a try. Maybe Matt knows if he's still kicking about. So the published manifest is going to be into here called, what's it called? Up into here. Okay, you know done it with that. So I'm fully expecting that this is going to fail. But what we also need is the personal access token. And that's going to be, I still hear Marie shouting in my ear, don't let your passwords out. V6, I forgot what I called the environment variable. Publisher, I think that's what it is. Publisher token is what I called it. Dash, that's. I leave Q&A on for all of my extensions. I get an email whenever someone asks a question. So do we, I think. It goes to a shared account that should be able, like, all the folks in the Cake team should get that. But we are trying to consolidate some of the various places that we have communications in the team. So I think that's what Pascal is really referring to, is that we're trying to consolidate, move people away from Gitter into GitHub discussions. And so rather than having questions here, questions there, questions everywhere, and try to push people or herd them into one location where everyone can get the benefit of it. Because some folks ask a question in Gitter and they get an answer, but then no one else uses it or sees it. Whereas if we put it into a discussion, it's there, it's searchable, etc. So that's kind of the thought process there. Dash then space. What did I do? Oh, well, good shout. Adil, thank you very much. So let's do this. As a squirrel side note, oh my goodness. While I was stealing Doc's layout from cake.recipe, I wondered whether we should switch to discussions for Cake Contrib 2. Thank you, Adil. I think that would be a good idea. So I wondered whether we should switch to discussion. So what are we saying? So we would still have the docs though, right? But you were saying in addition to the doc site that we have, you add discussions for Cake Contrib. Is that the question? I think that would be a good idea, saying Kim. Poll is up. The poll is up where, Maurice? If you have a link, I'm happy to vote on it. I don't know where it's meant to be appearing though. Discuss where you wish. The reason I don't know what happened. Right, I see what you're saying. The reason I don't know. I see what you're saying, Matt. Understood. There's a Gitter link in the docs, in the chat. Okay, I'm not seeing a link to. I'm so confused by what's going on. So Adil sent me that at the top of. Oh, I see what you're talking about now. Right, okay, sorry. So in the stream chat window, there is a poll, and the poll is, would you prefer workshop or presentation? Oh, interesting. Would you prefer workshop or presentation? I personally am a fan of in-person workshops, so that would be my vote. I didn't even know you could do that. There we go. At the top of the chat, says Augusto. There's a link in the poll. It's the top of the chat. Not a link, it's the chat itself at the top. Sorry. I vote option. Right, anyway, so I'm over here. I didn't know you could do that. That's interesting. So obviously that doesn't flow through into the chat that's in the video on the stream, but it is in the actual chat. So what's going to happen if I click the Go Gadget button on this? What's it going to do? The publish manifest from blah 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 contains invalid entries. Okay. So I'm going to fix something just in case it's causing issues. I'm going to remove my backslashes in favor of, or remove my forward slashes in favor of backslashes, just so that it's all pointing in the same way. But I'm assuming that that's still going to break. Unsupported category tools. So does that mean that they removed it? So Maurice is saying that the question in the poll is topic is on box starter. Maybe we should separate communication streams in the chat, multiple discussions. I'm easily confused, Nils, or I'm easily distracted anyway. Poll idea credits to Kim. I was hoping it would flow through to the feature.chat though, so it could be displayed there. It doesn't seem to be the case. Yeah, it's. I know that the feature.chat is actively being worked on, so it is possible that in a future version of feature.chat it might flow through. Okay, so we're going to have to look at the schema, I think. So let's see if we can get any information from the actual schema to see if there's valid entries that we need to put into here. So the one that it's failing on are the categories. So does it tell us in here what the supported values are? Oh, here we go, look. Any of, so there's no tools. So this must have come in after the currently published version. Oh, hold on. Tools isn't a category, it's a type. Okay, so what I was looking at, Matt, was what's in here. Categories currently says tools and build. So I took that to mean that in here I was going to put tools and build. But nothing shows up. It's a misleading UI on the storefront. Okay, so love it. So what do I want to put? What do I want to put in here then? What do you have any suggestions? Let me say it differently. What do you have any suggestions about what I should be putting in here as categories? The URL and the categories seem to indicate that tools is a category and build is a subcategory. Tools is indeed a category and build is a category. Oh, I see. Okay. I think I see. So the valid values in here are indeed build, and there's no tools mentioned. So in that case, based on that, I'm going to take this out and I'm going to change this to be lowercase in case it complains about that as well. Nice and fluffy cake. Okay, so I think I'm going to go with that. I think. What do we think? This is what I'm going to go with. I'm going to wait for people to type and see if there's any other offers on what I've got in there. And if not, I'm going to press the button again to try and publish it. I'll wait just a minute here. Marie says ship it. We've got one vote for going for it. I'm going to wait for at least one more response. Because at the minute, it's... Come on. Go wait for at least one more person. How long are you folks going to make me wait? Oh, there was a comment there from... With Azure DevOps extension, it is so that you can add a repository node pointing at the Git repo. It will automatically disable Q&A as long as the customer Q&A support enable Q&A is not set. But this is... Yeah, that sounds like a Azure DevOps specific thing. Okay, ship it. I'm going to try it. So let's try it again. Fire. It's taking longer to fail. Uploaded cake for Visual Studio to the marketplace. It seems to have shipped it. In the manual uploading interface, there is an extension type for which tools is valid. I guess in the storefront, this entry is also included as a category. Should also include setup and deployment, question mark, question mark. It's gone. So let's see what's happening. Let's have a little look and see what's going on over here. So if I refresh the page that I have off screen at the minute, it's currently verifying. So if I bring, I don't think I'm giving the game away anything in here. If I bring this in, then currently version, it's hard to see, but there is a verifying operation happening on the Cake for Visual Studio extension. So I think it shipped it. it looks like build ended up in the tags. Q&A is now disabled. Oh, hold on. So back to here, if we refresh this, and then it's not for me yet. I don't see that. No, hold on. That's the wrong extension. You're looking at the VS Code extension there, Pascal. If we duplicate this and go back to the marketplace, I think you are in this one. But the Q&A there is from, well, it's maybe not disabled. Interesting. I'm not aware of turning that off. Works with is already updated. I think it will still link to it, but maybe not allowing anyone to submit. So it's still verifying. So I'm looking at my screen and it's still verifying the latest v6 file. So that's still there. Oh, it's gone live. So if I refresh the page here, do we have a new version? How long does it take to, oh, it's got 030 here now. And it's still got, oh, it didn't take the C# one. It didn't take the C# tag. So for whatever reason that didn't flow through. So the result of the poll is 71% workshop and 29% presentation. So why would my C# tag not flow through? Nice. I'm going to add another issue for that. Thank you very much for the cheer, Nils. I appreciate it. Q&A is now gone. Q&A is indeed now gone. And it doesn't have a link. So oh, it's not got my images here either. Oh, that's annoying. Fine. Some issues here then. So let's add some issues. Issues. Yeah, I just noticed that as well, Augusto. So you can take your cheer back, Nils. I think there's some work to be done. Images in marketplace page are not working. It's probably because it's using relative links in the MD file, which aren't respected or aren't -100 from Kim. The images are just raw. Ooh. I wonder if that's the issue. I wonder if that's the issue. In that GitHub has. But how would it have worked before? Short answer is I don't know. So there's an issue there for that, and the other one is missing C# tag. It was there in the 0.2.0.0 release, but didn't flow through when using v6 publisher.exe to publish. So that's something to keep in mind for the next one as well. I'm going to say that's an improvement. Okay. The images before were pointing to raw link from GitHub. Oh, so I wonder then. So in the README currently we have, let's have a look. I'm fairly sure that they're relative links. So we'll need to update that. So that'll need to flow through in the next release as well. So the C# category didn't flow through. Potentially we need to look at that. All of those need to be updated. Okay, but I guess the test would be that if we go up to extensions and say manage extensions, and we say updates, I'm going to uninstall this because I'm wondering if that's going to make it higher than the other one. And Pascal's saying, I'm currently working on updating Doc and Cake website. Is the question how much we want in the marketplace README and what we want to link to the website? So it's similar to what we were discussing with the VS Code extension then. Is that what we're talking about? So potentially, so that maybe flows into some of that, yes. So we may need to, so it's similar to the discussion that we had in that I think we still want some information to be here on the README so that folks browsing it, well, the argument that we put forward last time was when you were browsing an extension inside VS Code, you get to see all the information. So having it in the README makes sense. However, when you browse an extension in Visual Studio, I don't think you get the whole page. So in this scenario, I think it makes more sense to just have a much more stripped down version of the README and point people at the docs site. Yeah, so if we download this one, this is the official 030 release. Close and open up this guy again. I see what you said there, Maurice. I'm watching you. Question. Why you know emote? What does that mean, Adil? I'm not down with the hip kids. What does that mean? For VS Code, we decided to have a config settings in the README and features on the website. Yes, but I think part of the discussion that we had was that you could see it, correct? When you're in Visual Studio Code saying add extension, you would see it in there. There's much less, which makes sense for VS. Okay, cool. So I'm okay then with stripping some of the information from here and adding it to the docs site and then just point people from the marketplace page to the docs page. Why don't you have emotes I can unlock? Because I don't know how to set it up, Adil, if I'm honest. If you want to educate me on how to do that, I would welcome it. But yeah, I don't know how to do it. Can I do it? Sure. If you know how to do it, I'd be more than happy for you to do that for me. Do I need to enable you to do that? Do I need to promote you as something or do something? I'd love to know what you're doing, but I can make you. Sure, let's go for it. So the points. What points are we talking about here, though? That people have to. Sure, let's do it. Let's do it. So if I open up the Windows Form app, so I think Adil saying that he'll make me some emotes, and then I can add them into my configuration, and they can be unlocked by folks if they want them. You get them by chatting and participating. Awesome. So now, if we open up Task One, oh, look at that. It's working. And if we double click on default, then it should use, by default, it uses .NET Cake, the global Cake runner, if it's installed. If it's not installed, it'll then check for chocolatey version of it being installed. And if that's not installed, it won't do anything. So we have support for the .NET Global Tool version of Cake and for Cake. So I think it's working. Your stream viewers can unlock points and then get access to special emotes, also subs. I currently have 54. Where do you see that number, Maurice? Where do you get that information from? So so we can have a Cake emote. I think we should have a Cake emote, absolutely. And the newly added prediction as well can be set up by mods and admins. I have a so where do you see that number? Where does that come from? How much do I have? I don't. I guess it doesn't matter for me because I'm here. I think Maurice just sent me a screenshot. $54. Oh. For me, I've got a little infinite symbol on mine. Channel points, I've got infinite, it says. I only have 38.9, probably due to missing a few streams. Pascal, I always wondered what I can do with these points. So yeah, you can buy stuff. That is because... So I figured that's what it was. Yes, and I figured that's what it was. So if I click on it, it says introducing channel points, watch GEP 13, earn channel points, unlock rewards, and there's a learn more. There's a learn more button. I'm sure if I press the learn more button, I could read about it. I'm new to Twitch as well, Nils. I don't know how it works. I genuinely don't. All this stuff about emotes, I've only just set up the widgets thing. So if I do another one, I've only just recently set this guy up. I didn't have him before, but he's up there now. And then if I get any bits, I get different things. I think it's a weird Manny at the minute. I don't really like him. I need to change him. I don't really know how to change him, so I need to figure that out too. How long have you been streaming? A while. When was my first one? Let's go back. It's been a while. Yep, 13. OSS. I'll tell you when my first one was in a sec. Unless Maurice gets there first. It's something that he knows. He remembers and things like this. I don't. My first stream was on Monday the 10th of December 2018. So over 2 years ago. I don't know how things work, Adil, I'll be honest. I'm only here by the skin of my teeth, let's be honest. I mean, I've all these numbers that are floating around in terms of dropped frames and all that sort of stuff and resolution. I genuinely don't know much about it. But I sit here and talk to you fine folks of an evening, and it's all good fun, and I learn lots, hence like things like this. So it's all good. And what are the gift to take on top for? I don't know, Pascal. I don't know. Does anyone know what Pascal's referring to? And what are the gift to take on the top? Don't know. You are doing a great job. Give yourself some. He's only streaming because. He is only streaming because it's the only way he managed to do open source. That is actually absolutely true. It really is. So I've said this before on stream, but we've got an agreement with my wife that I get this dedicated time slot of 2 hours of a Monday evening to do stuff, and I get to decide what that stuff is. And I decided it was going to be streaming, and I decided it was going to be an opportunity for me to learn stuff and hopefully provide some benefit to the community in terms of showing you how to do things, mainly by me stumbling around in the dark, getting things to work, and hopefully showing how things can be done. And I like to think I do that, but there's obviously some question. It's obviously questionable that that's not always the case. But we get things done. So in recent times, we've shipped a new version of Cake extension for Visual Studio Code, and we've just shipped the Cake extension for Visual Studio with new support for Visual Studio 2019. And we even remembered to update the README to say that it was only 2017 and 2019. So yeah, we did quite well in this release, I think. Oh, what was that? Maurice cheered with 100. Thank you very much. Look at that. I did that. I added that. The guy originally wanted to set up an OnlyFans, but they rejected his application. You know me too well, Adil. Pascal. On top of the comment box, there are GIFs which you can take, and DevLead has taken the first. So those, I believe, are they're a leaderboard for, and there's different ones. So if you go through them, there's another one for. So if you've gifted a sub to this channel to someone else, then you're on top of that leaderboard. So Matthias at some point came in and said, whoever's in the chat room, here's a bunch of free subs, which means that you don't get all the ads and stuff that you would normally get. So if you're subscribed to the channel, then you don't get the ads that folks would normally get. So Matthias gifted 15 subs for the month, I think, so that whoever was in the chat room automatically got one. So that's why he's the top of that leaderboard. And the other leaderboard are the number of bits that have been been granted or given. So the 100 thing that Maurice just did when he did a cheer added another 100 onto his total. So Maurice is currently the top cheerer of bits on this channel, closely followed by Manfred and then Matthias as well. So I understand gift. I struggle with sub. Right, okay. So sub is if you obviously subscribe to the channel, but if someone's gifted it, then they're giving you the sub for that time period. I'm too old for all the gamer. Oh, tell me about it, Pascal. Tell me about it. Subs were gifted during your Secret Squirrel project with DevLead. Yes, we need to get back to that Secret Squirrel project. Myself and Matthias, we need to get back to that, and maybe one day, maybe, who knows. Right, but anyway, getting back to this, I think what we should do is we should send out a tweet to say that, yeah, 2030, that sounds about right. We should send out a tweet on the old Twitters that says, let's do this, let's go Visual Studio Marketplace, let's get a link on this page over here. And I know I'm doing this off screen and I apologize, but it's just easier to tweet from TweetDeck on this machine where I am signed in as the Cake account. So if I do this and say the 0.3.0.0 version of the Cake extension for Visual Studio has just been released. This includes support for VS 2019 as well as support for the .NET tool runner for Cake. Get it while it's hot. No, I'm not going to do that part. And I'm going to say a link to there, and I can tweet that as the Cake account, and then I should be able to like and retweet that as my account. Okay, cool. Where we go. Sounds more like 2077. I'll be doing well, Kim, if I'm still kicking around in 2077. I'll be honest. After COVID, yeah, 2077. After COVID, sounds about right. Current plans in Germany is that a typo, Nils, or am I just not reading it properly? Current plans in Germany is being done, or I think so. Yeah, current plans in Germany is being done with it by. What do you guys? Is that the 10th? That must be the 1st of October as opposed to the 10th of January. I think. Have you planned to write a blog post about it? Not yet, Pascal. I could do. Well, I put it on my list. I'm going to put it on my list. Look, blog post about VS extension similar to VS Code blog post. That's on my list, Pascal. I can do that. If you're happy for me to do that, I can do that. You could possibly ship a ghost on a chip What now? Or let me know if I can help with it. So no, I'm like I say, I'm technically on vacation now as well, Pascal. So I'll have some time to do that. If you were happy to do the changes to the docs for it, that would be great. I'll do the blog post. Vacation equals sitting bored at home. But we should be about yay far from doing the 1.0 release of Cake, though, in theory. So now that we've shipped this extension with BS 2019 support, which was the main thing that I wanted to get out of it, we can look at doing another 0.40 stroke maybe 1.0 release with feature parity to then have all of those things lined up. But I want us to get, if we could get the 1.0 release out before the end of the year, I think that would be great for Cake itself. So yeah. Anyway, that I have achieved, remarkably, I have achieved what I wanted to achieve on tonight's stream. Normally I'm floundering around, not getting things done, but I have actually achieved what I wanted. So that's good. So the one thing that's left is well, I need to push these things. So where are we? I need to push this up to, let's tidy up before we get too carried away. So we've got that extension manifest, but we'll push this up to the upstream. We'll need to tag it as well. Hey, we'll need to tag it. We can close the milestone, and that will update the issues. So let's do this. Let's do get push origin. Okay, so let's maybe go over here into, so let's get this over in here already. So if we go to projects, so that's currently merging on, it's currently running the CI build for the master branch. So what we should be able to do then is we should be able to go to the release up here, and let's publish the release, which creates the tag, so that we've closed that part out. And I'll kill the build because it's not actually going to do anything. So I'm going to kill the build that's just triggered because we don't need it. And then what we can do is we can go back to .NET Git version, GitReleaseManager, sorry. I'll get there. GitReleaseManager. And what we're going to do is we're going to do our close, and that close is going to be on the milestone that is 0.3.0. The token is going to be the environment variable that I had, which was cake GitHub token. The owner is going to be cake build. The repository is going to be cake vs. I think that's all we need to do then. So that should have closed off the milestone and updated the issues, hopefully. No, it won't have updated the issues because it won't have that in the Git release manager. Yeah, I see. So that needs to be in there. So it would have closed the milestone, but it won't have done the updating of the issues. That's fine. I have an issue for that in the next release. So we've done that. So if we now do a git checkout of develop, then we can commit the change that I have locally here. And that is going to be related to the automatic publishing. So let's tag that with the 123. So let's add that in, and let's do gh123 add publishing manifest file to be used in conjunction with the v6 publisher.exe. This file was used for the publishing of the 0.3.0.0 release. Commit that. And let's get that pushed up. So git push upstream. Git push origin. And then we should be able to do a git branch -d on the release. And then I think we're back to just having a master and develop. Okay, cool. So I think then that is it. So the question becomes, what do we, and that's the collective we, what do we want to work on next? So the main focus of the stream, the last just seen a screenshot that Marie sent me. Yeah, I don't have any emotes. So the focus of the stream, the last two main things that we've been focused on is the Cake VS Code release and the Cake Visual Studio release. Both of those things have been done. The things that are left, I can probably do off stream. So, is there anything that you fine folks would want me to focus on going forward? So Maurice has put forward the Choco export command. So that's still on my to-do list. Unfortunately, I'm waiting on some feedback from Rob on that one. So there is an open pull request here into Chocolatey for that functionality. So if I go and have a look at the authors, I'll look in here. Then this add export command is currently waiting on Mr. Fervent Coder to take a look at, because I have an outstanding question from May, unfortunately. I haven't followed up with him recently about it, but maybe I should. Augusto's asking, so which, let's, Kim was first. So which extension is next? So Nils, in the background, has been working on the Cake Rider extension. So that would be the next one. I'm not having much to do with this one, but I think I'm right in saying that Nils is currently doing some yak shaving to get this to a point where it's releasable. So I know that he was working on updating the cake.gradle add-in so that he could add that into the build process. And I think I'm right in saying that he's currently building a recipe similar to what we've got for the Cake VS Code recipe. But that would be the next extension. But this is all Java, and it's like an alien language to me. So I'm not really having much involvement other than looking at the very pretty Java code that Nils is writing and saying this looks great and merging it. So that would be the next extension. Augusto was asking what's left for the Cake 1.0 release. I think I'm right in saying that essentially nothing. So if we go up here and look at the milestone, which is what I think Pascal has just linked you to, but if we go into the 1.0 release, then there's one open one, which is this came up in discussion with regard to making sure that all of the input arguments to cake, frosting, etc. are all the same. So I know that Pascal's got a PR up for this one. So once this is in, we've had an RC1 release and we've done an RC2 release now. So the next one will be the 1.0 release, and it'll be out there. It'll be there. He added waiting on user in June. Yeah, he's not waiting on me for it. I'll speak to him about it. So speak to Rob about Choco export. I thought it said removed. I thought it did as well, actually. I need to say that. I've got a note to speak to him about it anyway. Where was I? Well, that was over here. No, he removed the waiting on user. So that was him. That to me means it's on. It's in his ballpark because it wasn't. It was waiting on me. Now it's not waiting on me. So I just need to pester him to get it. It's missing most of the doc. So Nils is referring to, I think, the rider extension, missing documentation. Pascal, basically only bug fixes. There's currently one known bug with the CLI switch. Cake.gradle done. Okay, cool. So the work's been done on that one. Other is the Cake Docker. So yes, behind the scenes. So let's bring this up. Behind the scenes, Cake.docker. No, is it just Docker? Behind the scenes, Matthias has been working on refreshing the Docker builds. I'll be honest, I don't fully understand all these things that he's doing, but he is creating lots of different versions of lots of different Docker images, all of which will include Cake on them by default, and he's working on pushing them up in Docker Hub, and he's doing a lot of work on there, and obviously we really appreciate it. I don't think that being there would stop the release from happening, but once the release is there, it should then be hopefully be a quick turnaround to get new Docker images that have 1.0 installed on them ready to go. So yes, we are almost there, Augusto. Also, there are 54 open PRs. I'm assuming that you're referring there to the 54 PRs that are open on... Yes, there are 54 open PRs on Chocolatey. Whether I do them on stream that's a totally different question. Once Cake 1.0 is out, there is 1 or 2 issues and PRs to look at. Yes, so once 1.0 ships, you're right, Pascal, there are some open PRs. Now, what we've basically said is that we're not pulling in any other features or changes into this 1.0 release, and they'll go out in the next one. So unless it's a breaking change, it'll be a 1.1 release. So there are some, I think some including from yourself, Augusto, for certain changes. So once 1.0 is out of the way, we obviously can then start the work on doing the next one. But yeah, I would love to have it shipped by the end of the year so that we can kind of put a tick in the box to say that we've done it. It would be great to have that. It's been a long time in the making. I think I've said that a few times, but we're getting very close. I don't think we've been this close before. What we did notice was that there was a good number of folks that had tried the release candidate, which was good. So 500 odd on the old cake.exe. There was more folks trying out the cake.global tool version of it. So I think that maybe speaks to our change in documentation. So where I'm saying Pascal has done all the work. Pascal has changed the documentation now to make the .NET Global Tool runner the first class citizen. It's the one that we're pointing more folks to using. So there's a good number, obviously, of folks that have tried out the RC version of that. So it's good to see. And yeah, so I think part of me thinks that is where I want to go, Maurice. Is the Chocolatey extension for Visual Studio Code. I think that's what I want to work on next. I know we did a bunch of work on that a while ago. The landscape there has changed a little bit in terms of the LSP implementation, so we would need to bump that the client that we're using and the server implementation that we're using to the latest bits. But I think that's the one that I want to go to next. So the work that I've been doing at work in terms of changing up the package validator. So maybe let's just bring up a quick chat about this. So if we look at Chocolatey's package validator, then I've moved, or I'm in the process of moving all of the documentation that was here, and that's all now going over. I don't have my same shortcuts that I have on my other machine. Not shortcuts, but links I've been to before. So if we go to CCR, moderation, package validator service, package validator rules, all the information that was on this page is now within our static website. So you can click on here, and all the information that was there is now been brought over here. So that means, and I've got an open PR into the package validator itself, so that the rules now link to the new location rather than the old one. So with those changes, I think we can bring some of that into the Chocolate extension for Visual Studio Code. And now that I've played a little bit more with the Cake extension for Visual Studio, we should be in a better position to look at the Cake extension for the Chocolate extension for Visual Studio. I started that work, never got anywhere with it. So, and yes, Maurice is correct. He's Maurice sent a PR into the is it the LSP or is it the other one? Let's go up here. Chocolate. So it was into the language server, was it? So if we go up here and look for language, is it in community or is it in? It is in community. Thank you. So over here in community, and then in here, if we search for language, in here, then Maurice has got an open PR to modify some of the URLs that are used within the language server implementation for Chocolatey to point to those new locations that I've now got within the doc site. So lots of moving parts. But yeah, I think I would like to get back to this. I know we did some work and we got to a point where it was kind of working, but I would like to be able to ship this and get it working. I got sidetracked with it basically. So if folks are interested, then I think this would be the next project that I would tackle. What I don't yet know is whether I'm going to have a stream next week or not. I haven't really decided yet. So like I mentioned at the start of the stream, I'm now technically on holiday. So I may have an opportunity to do some work next week, but I haven't decided yet. So I'll have a think through some of these suggestions. So there was the Choco export, there was the LSP. We can maybe look again at the rider extension as well, if there's work to be done there, based on what Nils has been working on. There's also the fallback, which is updating extensions, or add-ins, sorry, updating add-ins to latest cake and cake.recipe. That's a fallback thing that we could work on stream. Unfortunately, I won't be able to come here next week. So that's Maurice. Personally, I would like to continue on. That's another option, yes. So Kim's suggesting that we continue work on GitReleaseManager. We certainly can. If there are things that we can be doing over there, I think that makes sense. There is the outstanding work on GitReleaseManager would be, I know some folks started it, but I don't think it went anywhere. There are the different implementations for the providers now. I would still like to have a GitLab provider for GitReleaseManager, mainly because there's a movement internally at work to start to maybe use GitReleaseManager. So we could certainly look at doing some of that too. Nils is pointing out that Maurice will be missing out on points if he's not here next week. It's this or going to... Oh man, you just tell them you can't make it, Maurice. I mean, why would you not want to come and hang out here? It is also the PR I opened October. Oh, okay, hold on. I thought I got to all your PRs, Kim. If I didn't, I apologize. I thought I got to them. Git release manager. Oh, there's 12 open ones. What did I miss? Oh, this one? Oh, it was September. Okay. Sorry. I'll try and take a look at that, Kim, in the next... I'll try and take a look at that this week and get that merged in. I think that one fell off my radar. So yeah, apologies. I have 10 minutes. I do, but I was kind of in wind down mode. I didn't necessarily want to do anything because I don't often get to the end of a stream and I'm not trying to figure things out. So it's quite a nice, calm feeling of actually having done something and gotten out the door. So, well, I haven't really been on GitHub in the past few months, so I wasn't sure if you had looked through it. So yeah, I don't think I have. Has it got any? Have I been in here? That's maybe why I got scared. Yeah, no, I haven't even touched this because I haven't started looking through the files yet. So, or work. What's that? I'm assuming that doesn't go anywhere. Yeah, that's that page not found. So I will get to that, Kim. I've added that to my near-term to-do list. So I had to go and check that I didn't actually have something there, Augusto. But yes, but no, I think I'm gonna finish early. I think is what I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna say thank you very much to everyone who came along to the stream tonight. It's a pleasure as always. I do really appreciate the interaction on chat, and I know I miss things sometimes, but I do appreciate the interaction that we have on our Monday evenings here. I hope everyone has a good and safe Christmas and New Year. So if I don't do a stream next week, I hope you have a good Christmas and New Year. But if I am going to do a stream next week, I'll post on Twitter and various places. So I hope Santa is good to everyone. I know my kids are excited about the upcoming presents and things that we don't have any room for anything in the house, but there's Santa brings them lots of things, and grandparents do as well. So there'll be lots of presents, no doubt, on Christmas morning. So with that, I'm going to say there may be bingo as well. I think we are doing family bingo over the Christmas period, yes. So have a cousin that's worse than... But yes, I'm going to say good night to everyone. Thank you all for coming again, and stay safe, and I shall speak to you on the internets. And yes, talk to you later. Bye bye.